Hello, everyone. Today I have a very special guest on my channel, and she's Norisah, and she's a long-time client of mine, and we've been working for many years actually, and I believe it's since 2021, and we'll be working until I believe 2026 April. Yeah. So, Norisah, welcome to the talk show.
Thank you, Domi.
I'm very excited to share this story because I believe you have an incredible story to share with the world. And I believe your story will inspire so many people because, like, there are so many things people can learn from your story. That is what I see. And that's one of the reasons I see, like, sharing your story will be, like, really, really valuable for those who listen to this story, you know. And can you tell me a little bit about yourself, like your name and like where you from and can you give a little bit of introduction about yourself, Norisa?
Yeah, sure, Domi. So I'm Norisah and I'm from Singapore. And what I'm doing is that previously I was working as a youth worker. And then after that, I took a break and I've been focusing on my healing all this while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me your degree? Which did you major in your degree?
I did a social work degree.
You did that.
Yeah.
So, so Norisa, like I believe we started working together in since 2021 September, as far as I remember. Yeah, and I even remember the first session that we had together. Like, so Norisa, can you tell me a little bit about before you met me? Like, how was your life? Like how was it? Like before you met me? Like before your life? 2021 September. Before that, can you tell me a little bit about your life story? Yeah.
Okay. So before I met you, Dilmi, it's like I was really going through a very tough situation in my life in the sense that I don't even know how to put it into words, but it was really like I was going through a lot of pain. And around 2016, I was diagnosed with depression. I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. And at the point of time, I didn't know what was really like happening to me because things were just out of control. And I just couldn't understand what I was going through at the point of time. My life was just totally dark, lost. I don't know what to do. And I still remember there was once like um before to I mean in 2015 September around there I was telling my mom at the point of time I was studying a degree in a university in a local it's a prestigious university then. I was doing my accounting degree back then actually. So I couldn't focus my studies and I was telling my mom that my hands were shaking. I just don't know what's happening to me. I just feel so anxious. I just couldn't take it any longer. And I told her that I think I need to see a doctor. And then we went and she brought me to the doctor. We went to the doctor, the near GP and all these things. The doctor just saw me and I just started crying to him. And then he just told me this, Norisah, you're going through PTSD. You need even a more like a doctor from the hospital to really like support you. And by today itself, I need you to go and seek this consultation today itself. So I was
Like honestly, Norisa, even this story I'm hearing right now, like I find it very interesting to hear that part of the story. Yeah. Yeah. Like in
yeah,
this much detail, like you saying. Yeah.
yeah. So all these things happen, and then yes, I got to know that I was going through PTSD, and things were really out of control because to the point that I had to be warded in the hospital for a month. So that was then I really thought that my life is just I whatever dreams that I had, I thought that it's totally is like gone. And whatever visions I had in my life, I thought it's like it's totally gone. It's a kind of like a painful situation that I was really in. It's like, yeah. So that was what I was going through, and I was put on antidepressants. I was taking for about 6 to 7 years. And I thought that, antidepressants could really help with my situation. So I was just taking it diligently, always every night before I sleep, I always take all the medication. But, I just felt that there was a kind of pain deep inside me, which nothing really worked, actually. I have consulted counselors, psychiatrists, Ayurvedic doctors. I have consulted all these things, but nothing worked. So that was when I think around September 2021 itself, what really happened was that actually I decided to do like a therapist kind of work. I saw in a website, like there's this company, they're doing inner child work. So I even booked the session, and I shared this with my friend during a staycation, actually, that I just feel that I need more help, and I'll be doing this like kind of counseling kind of session with this therapist. And that was when she actually introduced me to you. That was how we got, like, it was just amazing because um she was sharing a lot of things about you, the work that you were doing. And at a point of time, there was another friend with us as well. She was also telling me that she's, Norisah, I'm doing this coaching and all, and it's really helping me a lot. And, you can really consider going for this as well. So I was like, okay, then, one of my friend like shared with me about your details and all these things, and then your website and all those things. So I was looking through, and it was a surprise. I booked your session. There's a free coaching, free session, discovery call.
Yeah.
And I didn't look back then. I just canceled my appointment with that previous organization. Yeah, and I just started the session with you, the package with you, actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's interesting, like how your journey came about this far. So Norisa, like, correct me if I'm wrong. So before you met me, like, you had depression, you had PTSD, you had psychosis, and you had anxiety, and I believe you said even more than a bipolar.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
those things you were struggling at the time or point of life before we met.
Yes.
And also you had to stay in a mental hospital for 1 month's time. Yeah. And I find, Norisa, you coming here and sharing this story, you have incredible courage. Incredible courage. Because people, even if they recover, they won't keep their story hidden. That is what I see. Can you tell me, how did you get such a courage to come step up and just share your story like this? Like, people are like, nowadays they just, like, what they show to the world and what they have inside is a completely two different realities. Person coming to the public and sharing their vulnerable story. They have gone through the mental disorders, and then they've stayed in like a mental hospital for 1 month's time. And coming these are not what we see in the social media, let's be honest. And how do you get such a courage to come and share them? I get goosebumps just by like just conducting this. How do you get such a courage to come and share this in public?
Honestly, Dilmi, I have to really thank you for this, because if I were to look at the older version of Norisah, who was really going through all those issues back then, I think I wouldn't be the person right here sitting down and even speaking to the audience. And definitely, yes, it requires strength and courage. But I've come to a point that, like whatever I've gone through in my life, all those labels, all those mental health labels, what I believe in myself is that I don't identify with all those labels. That's number one. And I feel that, you know, if I were to just keep everything within myself and just repress my story without even like sharing to the people out there who are actually, who might be suffering in silence, like what I was going through, then it's quite a sad thing because there are a lot of people down there who are suffering in silence. A lot. And at least this video itself, by sharing my story, at least it could at least help one person itself. So that is my intention why I actually even like I'm really excited and even happy to do this video itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Norris, I find that like just that you shared in this story will definitely help so many other people who are watching, especially those who are like sometimes women are they are just like suffering secretly because they and then at the same time what we have heard, Norisa, like in our family system through the culture, do not share your problems outside the world, and that is what we have heard. And you coming here and stepping out and just sharing this story, I find that's really inspiring, really inspiring. And I find it will help so many other people. And also, Norisa, like one more thing I've noticed that when we have a physical illness, for example, when we get fever or some kind of like a physical illness, people just go to a doctor and then they get some medicine, and that's quite normal in the society, and no one just keep it as a secret. But when it comes to mental illness, like people go, oh my God, this person is crazy. Like if person has a mental illness, like in the society, there's a stigma around that, like, oh my God, this person is crazy. That kind of like, oh, you're going through something, like it looks little differently than a physical illness.
Yes.
So how did you get courage to like step out and seek support? Like people would rather stay in hidden and just suffer alone than step out, because no one wants to say that they have some kind of a mental illness, or like they just
Yes.
keep it in. So I want to ask you, like, how did you get courage to step out and just seek support?
Mm. I think, yeah, this is a really like, I think when you shared earlier about, people don't want to open up, because of the stigma and all these things, it's really true because I went through that phase as well. In fact, I come from a background whereby, I was told to not even share any of my problems to anyone. So I come from that kind of background and it was really tough because like deep inside, I really needed support. I need something out. I need to do something for myself. And with all this kind of like, society is telling, don't share any of your problems to anyone because or else there'll be shame, all these things. I think what really matters at a point of, because I was really going through a lot, I think what really matters to me was that I needed to do something for myself. And that's when I take the decision to step up and, open up to you. It was not easy actually, because I was scared what people judge, if I were to say, okay, I have all these mental health labels, how would people think about me? All these judgments really, really made me, like, it really bothered me a lot. But I came to a point that because I trusted you, the trust that we had, that I felt very safe to even open up whatever I went through, and that really helped me a lot. The trust, that bond that we established from the beginning, it really helped me a lot. Actually, I would say, yeah,
Like you found that it's safe place for you to share your story. And
yes,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, and like I remember on the first day, like we had the session, and I still remember, and I believe you were much more like you were like quite overweight than you are right now. My God, I believe like you were.
yes. I lost 20 kilo actually all these 4 years.
Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I find it very interesting, Norisa, how you lost the weight. This
Yeah.
really transforms story, because I remember like we can even put the picture before and after. how you were before and how you were after the coaching with those pictures. And can you tell me a little, because I feel like when you started working on your emotions, you just lost, I believe, 20 kg. Is that right?
Yes.
You lost
Yes.
weight and you transformed. Can you tell me a little bit about that actually?
Yes, yes. So when I first started the coaching, the first session itself, I was weighing around 70 plus around then, 70 kilo, because I was taking a lot of antidepressant and that really like made me put a lot of weight. But then when I started our journey together, these coaching sessions, what I realized is that basically all these weight are emotional accumulation, is all emotions.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
That is what I realized. And when I started doing the deep work with all the healing, I don't even have to put any efforts to even run every day, but simply I just saw myself, witnessing myself that the weight was just reducing by its own. So that was really like, I was really quite amazed to even see because I don't even have to put so much of efforts. So, but of course, at the same time, I also did a lot of like, I really took care of my own lifestyle also, especially when it comes to the food intake. And I also did a lot of exercise because at the point of time, I was depending on antidepressants. But when I came for your sessions, I'd stopped taking the medications. I stopped. And I stopped, yes. So my only antidepressant was exercise, and that really helped me a lot.
I find that
Yeah.
interesting how you transform from a being 70 kg and now you are like quite thin. When I saw you in Singapore, you were like
Yeah.
very, yeah. And I find that's very interesting. And isn't that fascinating how like how much weight was, whatever the weight, overweight was equivalent to the repressed emotions you had inside.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
that's crazy, Norisah. Like, I mean, how
Mm.
many women are like, I've seen like sometimes just like you say, when I some women when I see that when they are overweight, like I see more emotions than the weight. More like what we are focused on is the fat, like, but in reality, like what's really deep on inside is the repressed emotions that they are carrying. And
It's true, though.
that would
Yeah.
bring a lot of aha moments for the people who are watching this because it's a lot of transformation. And and then the next thing is I remember like on the first day when we had the session and I remember you started like sharing your story and also at the same time you even started crying because you immediately connected with me very deeply. And and at the same time, I remember on the first day itself, like you stopped antidepressants, even though I shared you need to consult your doctor first. You still trusted on me and then you just let go of antidepressants. So I would like to ask you, how did you got such a faith to like just because that was what you've been helped for 6, 7 plus years, and in fact you were like little addicted towards that antidepressants
Mm.
too.
Yes, that's true.
It's such like faith in like because it was the first session, not even like any, that was the first free session that we did together.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Then you just completely stopped on the first day itself. How
Yeah.
did you get such a faith?
Actually, what really happened is that before I even stopped on my own, I was seeking the doctor's support in the sense that I was asking, like, is there any ways I could really reduce this dosage? Because uh, what I would say that, yes, the medication really helped me at one point, like, it helped with the sleep somehow. But when I look at the whole thing, I feel that this is not the way that I really want to do it, in a sense, to take a medication. And when I asked the doctor, and he told me that I have to take it for a lifelong.
Wow, Norisa.
I have to take it for lifelong. And when I heard that, I was like, it was really depressing to hear that, honestly, because for me, it's like I don't want to like go into like, taking medications forever.
Like it's like you're dependent for the rest of your life.
Exactly. Exactly. So I try to like talk to him and say that, I will try to do a lot of like lifestyle modifications and all these things. Is there any ways we could at least taper the medication, or we could do all these things? I didn't get a kind of like good response from the doctor itself. And
Okay.
then because of this, I went to the Ayurvedic doctor and things also didn't really work out. And somehow deep inside, I know that I felt that, there is more to this there's more than all this medication. And because of that, something within me give me the kind of strength and courage that I can do this. I'm going to stop this medication. And I just want to even share with the viewers who are actually watching this, and probably you're taking any medication on these things. I just want to say this, that please do consult your psychiatrist or even your medical doctors, because for me is I knew it and I felt in my body that this makes me feel right actually. Yeah. So yeah, and I just did it because another thing is also because the trust that I have with you, that I know I just feel that I'm just going to give it whatever I can with this coaching session, do whatever I can to really help myself. And yes, I'm off with the medication like for 2 years plus. I stopped like in 2022. And how it really happened was that when we did the coaching and all these things, I went for my final review with a medical review with my doctor, and I was very honest with my doctor. First thing I told him that I'm so sorry that um I told him the truth that I'm so sorry that I stopped the medication. I'm not taking the medication. The doctor just looked at me, give me a shock. There was a silence for at least about 10 minutes, about 5 to 10 minutes. He was looking at my records and everything, my past records, everything. And then after 10 minutes, he looked at me and he just told me this, that Norisah, you have graduated from this.
Wow, I got goosebumps. Lisa.
So I was so happy that it's coming from him, who once told me that you have to be taking this forever. And I
Wow.
was I was just I was so happy. And I still remember that the moment I came up from the doctor, the first person I messaged was you
Yeah,
to tell me this
I
good
still
news.
have the message here. I remember even a few months back, I was reading the message. You were like, tell me like I'm officially graduated from the, like, I still remember that note. And I was so happy. And I got even tears in my, when I was reading the message, because this is what really makes my life. This is why I do this work that I do. And I could imagine how much happy you got, because it was like a confirmation from even the psychology side.
Yes.
And
Yeah. And I was so happy. And even my doctor
but
was asking.
that is the same doctor who told you need to take the medication for the rest.
Yes, yes. And when I heard that, I was shocked and surprised when he told me that, and I was also grateful to him as well. And he even was started asking me like, Norisa, what are you doing? Like how, like he saw the changes in me, like the confidence and all these things. And he was asking me what was I doing. And then I told him that I'm doing these therapy sessions, and I'm also doing meditations that's helping me a lot with my anxiety and all these things. And yeah, and everything, it's like I've been off from the medication for about 2 years as of now. Yeah. So I'm
Wow,
so thankful for that. Yeah.
that's very interesting. It's very interesting. So, like, this is like, Norisa, like when once you started, I remember the first day you just stopped antidepressants. This is after how many months? I believe 5 to 6 months after you went to the next doctor session, is it? 5, 6 months after,
Yes, around 6 months.
around 6 months. So
Yeah.
after like, so we've been working together for those 6 months together.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
like, he shared that you officially graduated from here. You didn't have any other checkups before with the doctor.
Uh, Before, as in,
Like within that 6 months, like one
no.
more. That was the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the final time, actually, final consultation with the doctor.
That's quite interesting. So can you like actually I want to tell to again to a reminder for the audience, this is no way telling anyone to just stop medication.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is not what we are sharing. This is her story and it is a completely unique story. And this is not to share or encourage anyone to stop their medication. If you are considering that kind of a decision, please consult your doctors before you do that. So just want to share that. And at the same time, Norisah, I'm curious because I've never taken antidepressants or any medication in terms of mental health. So I'm just curious what it's like the experience with these antidepressants and medication, because like clients that I worked with, one thing that I've heard from many common theme that I heard is this makes me numb, and that is what I've heard, but this is from my experience. So I would like to know that from you because you have the experience. Can you tell me a little bit about that experience? What really happens through that, like, and can you share because you are like, what it's
Yeah. So talking about the antidepressants, honestly, I went through a lot of
medication,
side,
right?
yeah, it was a lot of side effects that I went through. And I wasn't really educated on the side effects itself because basically I was like being like given the, medications, and you take it, you have to take it, comply to the medications and all these things. So I just took it and it was really challenging because yes, it's true. Numbness is one thing. My emotions were totally numb as well. I couldn't feel any, it was really tough. I couldn't even feel any emotions basically. And then I was also having brain fogginess, whereby I really couldn't even focus on my on whatever I was doing. So every morning when I wake up, it's like I'll be going through a period of brain fogginess for at least about 6 to 8 hours actually. So it was really tough when I was taking those medication. And as you are sharing about this, I'm also like, at the point of time when I was taking the medication, when I was out from the hospital, I was actually even working. I was doing a full-time job and I was still taking the medication, and it was really difficult because with the medication, with my numbness, with the brain fogginess, it was definitely very hard to even focus on my work. But I had no choice. I pulled through, I struggled, I forced myself because to get the things done. And then there was how my life was actually going for at least about 6 years, with these struggles. But then I came to a point that this was really too much because I couldn't even feel anything. I couldn't even like know even emotions, like sometimes like happiness itself is like it was really hard to even feel that. And Domain, I'm sharing with you about this. What's coming to my mind right now is like when I even go out with my friend, sometimes we enjoy, have even like ice cream and all these things, it's really fun thing, to enjoy all these things. For me, it's like numb. I can't even feel the kind of happiness of eating that ice cream, that kind of like sensation I was going through. So it's really tough. It was really tough.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Norisah, because like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's quite interesting. So, Norisah,
Mm.
like, yeah, so this is like, can you tell me, like, so that is the experience with the medication and the antidepressants and all that. So, like, I'm sure there are many people like who are taking antidepressants and medications, and now, right now, even watching the video and like getting inspired because now they are getting a hope. My God, like there are ways that I can heal myself in a natural ways, which is very interesting. And if you remember, like in our first sessions, I remember like you came back because you have the access to me, and then you like we were texting back and forth, and I remember like once you stopped antidepressants you got a problem with sleeping, as
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I remember. And I remember that we did like I believe 7 sessions back to back in because you were quite dependent on the antidepressants in order to fall asleep. And then I remember like you like got into a trouble sleeping. And I remember even accommodating that situation and having back to back sessions after that with you and then that really helped you with that, and then you started just rely on your own and just sleep on your own, and then that just happened naturally. So this whole story, I find, like, I'm sure that many people are resonating with when there are people, like, even I've sometimes met, like, even very good professions, like very good professionals, like in very good professions who are taking antidepressants. So I believe your story resonate with so many people out there who's listening right now. So, like, can you tell me, like, so, like, before you met me, like, you were quite religious. You don't need to even mention what is your religion or anything like that. So, before you met me, you were quite religious as a person. You were like doing what is in the religion, and it's like that's what you were resonating with the time that I met you, and you were like into that. And like after a few sessions, like working with me, I saw that you were like conversion from, this is not to say you got converted or
Yeah.
such, but you got shifted like from being a religious person to being a spiritual person. Like, can you tell me a little bit about it? You don't need to mention any like religion or anything as such, because we respect all religions, but I saw a clear difference, like clear, like a transition from being a religious person to a spiritual person. Can you share a little bit about that text? Because I found that's also very interesting. And
Yeah. So, talking about the religious background that I was coming from, what I really realized in my life was that it is more of like I couldn't understand in the sense that there's a lot of fears. It's a lot of like fear based, and I was quite confused because like confused in the sense like like I believe in a particular religion, but then in the sense that there's so much of fears, and I didn't know what to do in the sense at a point of time. And then when we talk about spiritual itself, yes, um, I had a lot of like kind of like ideas about when we talk about spirituality and all these things. At the point of time, I didn't really know anything about spirituality. Like what is it? I kind of like thought, okay, spirituality means you have to deal with the spirits, all those kind of things. That was how we have been, the kind of information we hear from the society. So, but when I actually went into the session, and when I get to hear a lot of like teaching, spiritual teachings, I somehow felt like this teaching somehow resonated with me. And it's not much of like fear based, it's more of like you find out for yourself what it is, you know? So I think that is really like so-called instead of using the word I convert, but it's like moving into a different path that has really like that feels more resonate with me, you know.
it feels
So
much transition.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that transition was like really like it was definitely difficult in the beginning because like, you know, um I had no support in a sense in my own family background, doing spiritual kind of work. So when I decided to even go into this path was really quite challenge. But I know after speaking with you and even like sharing my fears with you and even like asking even myself, because there's no looking back. This part is that there's no looking back. So when I sit down, I still remember I sit down at one of the park and then I was like making a decision, and I felt that, okay, this is the part that really feels right for me, actually, spiritual part. And the religious part was like something is more of like fear based. And I feel like it doesn't resonate with me. And that is the reason why I actually transited. Yeah.
That's quite interesting. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So people who are watching this is like they can do their own religion, and we respect all the religions. And like when it comes to spirituality, it is more like there's no belief system or anything like that. You do what resonates with you, and you are listening to your intuition, and you are listening to, I mean, basically what I always share with people is like your intuition is your teacher in the spiritual path. You know, you're basically listening to yourself. Even through this coaching, what I believe is I'm connecting back with your higher self through the coaching, and I become the mediator in order to do that for a time period, and then I step back, and then you deal with your intuition, and you are connected with your higher self, so you don't need me anymore. And that is my purpose of coaching. And so this is like, so this is what I see as spirituality, and you are like, you listen to your intuition and you're guided by this, and there's no any belief system which is like you got to believe this, you got to believe that. It's like your own journey, and you're discovering, basically it's like you're discovering your true self. And that is what I see, which is a more natural way to go about it.
Yeah.
And so can you tell me a little bit about Norisah, like, so doing this whole journey, like on your own and working with, like, how is it different working with another person and doing it on your own? Like, yeah.
I definitely see a difference because when previously, before even I started taking up a coaching, I was doing on my own in a sense, like watching videos and, like reading books. But what I actually found was these are all actually just surface level. They were not really like helping me to really go into the root cause inside, to really tune inside, in which I feel that I think as when there's someone who's there to support you, is that person is able to pinpoint directly at what you or on what you are really going through. So this is the difference because when I'm doing it on my own, I'm not able to see all these things that I'm actually going through inside. But with a person, with a coach or therapist, I feel that I think this is really helpful because they know much better, what I'm going through, and they're able to provide even more like deeper support, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one time also I asked one client, like, what was the reason you sign up with me? And she said that you can see, but I can't see. And there was
Yes.
that's what you share,
Yes.
summary of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Exactly. So yeah, that's what I actually learned from this whole coaching experience. Yeah.
it's like if you take any course or any videos, all are very much generally sharing their like the content. But when it comes to coaching, it's like I'm talking to Norisah. I
Yeah.
go directly to your problem, to your issue.
Yes.
Yeah. So your story is very much unique to someone else's story. And that's how it is. Yeah. And also, like, can you tell me what is your biggest breakthrough from the coaching? Like, I mean, yeah,
It's,
I don't know.
it's a lot. Maybe I can give some specific hints.
That's funny. Like, like, I just share it. Like, what do you think is your big? Obviously, like, it is coming out of like hearing that from the side of
Yeah.
yourself, like you officially graduated from this.
Yeah.
That definitely like a breakthrough. But I believe there are hundreds of breakthroughs that we did for this many years.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
if you are to pinpoint one breakthrough, like the biggest breakthrough, what comes to your mind?
Yeah, I think there's one that's coming right now. I think what I would say that, as a person who was going through all these mental health concerns, at a point of time, I was totally like, had low confidence. My confidence was just gone. My self-esteem was just totally gone. And I lost hope as well. Like, I totally lost myself at the point of time. But then after doing the coaching sessions, I felt that, slowly I started getting back my confidence, and that really helped me a lot. I think one of the biggest breakthrough I would say is like getting back my confidence, building my confidence, especially as a person who was taking, antidepressants and who has totally lost hope in everything. And then right now, I'm sitting down here and, sharing all my story. And I think this is the biggest breakthrough for me, I would say. Yeah.
It's very interesting, Norisah. Like, yeah. And I believe that even just like you said, even sharing this story itself is a breakthrough. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're just being very much vulnerable in front of the public. how much courage you're supposed to have. That shows that you are healed from the story. Otherwise, like you cannot share that. If you are still in the process of healing that particular story, that you wouldn't be able to share that. And that shows how much you have gone like far from the healing journey. And so, if I ask you, like, what are your three biggest mind shifts from this whole journey, like from this whole period of doing like years of coaching, and what are your biggest mind shifts? Three mind shifts. Yeah.
I would say that I think one of it I would say is that I used to be always like taking life very seriously and always controlling, and that was I felt that that was not really helping in the sense that when I started taking life everything's too seriously and whatever people say everything is seriously, it was not even helping me at all. And then when I went into this coaching, this spiritual coaching, and I started to learn a lot of spiritual teachings, I felt that actually this I even like experience it like this whole thing is temporary actually. This whole place that we are living, it's just temporary, and there's no need for us to even be even taking things seriously actually. What's there to be actually taking seriously? Yeah,
Play.
exactly. Everything is just a play. So it's like that's one of my biggest mind shift, I would say. And then next is definitely I would say it's like belief, limiting beliefs. I had lots and lots and lots of limiting belief.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I think the
It's
coaching that I did
funny, sir,
really.
like when we are there working with the beliefs, it's like it's interesting. What we see is not the reality as it is, what we see as our beliefs outside. So when our beliefs are changing, the entire world starts shifting.
Yes,
Think about it? Yeah.
it's really true. And I really experienced it in my own life itself because like when we have like a lot of like negative belief, the world shows it in that way. But when you start changing your inside, all your belief, when you start working on your belief, the outside itself changes itself. And I'm seeing it. I've even shared with you like what I've even like gone through in my current home. Like I'm staying in a rental home, and the kind of changes I'm seeing, it's just amazing actually. Yeah. So belief is something is like it's like it's really important in the sense that it's not it, because what we believe is what we see outside. Yeah, so that's the biggest mind shift for me in the sense of working all these things and yeah, yeah.
What is your third one?
My third mind shift, I would say it's
I could even say that being religious to being spiritual also a huge mind shift.
yes,
And see, yeah, yeah, because that's a whole new paradigms, right? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, religious thing is there's one thing because I come from a very conservative kind of religion, and in the sense that um there's a lot of like beliefs in that religion itself. I mean, yeah. So going into the spiritual part is it's a mind shift for me actually. It's a total mind shift and transformation for me. So yeah, that is the biggest mind shift as well, I would say.
yeah. And at the same time, for those who listening to this, spirituality is not another religion because
Yes.
it is completely on your own. And as that's why I said even like your intuition is the guide in this path, and
Yes.
very much
Yes.
going and discovering your true self. This is the journey of discovering who you are. If we tell it in a summarized version, what is real the spirituality? It's like you are discovering your true self. What else
Yes.
been doing? That's how, I mean, imagine we are living this for many years, but we don't even know who we are at our deepest core. And we learn everything. other than who we truly are, which is a funny paradox,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So I
also,
think,
yeah, and I was also thinking like people, those who are watching this, like, yeah, I mean, you've been working for many years, to be honest, like, I mean, from 2021 to even,
mm,
like, even with me, you're currently working with me at the same time until 2026 that
mm,
you are signed up with me. So as a person who is listening to that, like someone would think, my God, like that's a lot of years of work. And why do I even need to do such that kind of a work? Like, why can't I get such a like a within 1 month, 2 months, like work and like, is it even necessary for this many years? I'm sure, like, because not everyone is committed to such a long-term journey. Like a person who thinks, and I really can't do such a that kind of a years and commit, and that's not my thing. And for a person who is thinking in like that way, like I need something like a short term, like I need something to fix in a short period. What is your advice? What do you like? Because I'm sure that people, oh my God, like how many
mm,
years? And that's a lot of commitment and energy, effort, like so many years. And what would you say for that, Norris? Like,
yeah.
sure, people are thinking that right now. That's not for me. Like that is them because this is intense work, right? So, can you tell me what, like, yeah,
I think what I would say is that what I've even experienced from my own journey is that I learned that healing is like a process, it's a journey, and it's not like, you take a short term means you're totally done with it. And because this whole work, it involves, going deep inside you, and, especially if you're coming from a background of, a lot of like trauma and many years of trauma and repressed emotions.
yes, Norisah, like trauma is everyone's deal, not just
Exactly.
like you, me, or like it's like everyone's realities. Everyone has gone through their trauma in their
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So when we talk about trauma and all these unprocessed emotions, it's not like, I even thought maybe probably I can be done with, a short term, but no, it doesn't work that way. And the support is like, you at least, if you it's like what I've said, it's like a process, and it's not a linear thing. Sometimes that's up, sometimes that's down, and it's a matter of whether you are truly committed in this journey. I think that's really what really says everything, because if you are really into this whole path of really transforming yourself, and if you really want to see the difference and the change, you have to take that step, that decision, and that action. So yeah, so this is actually what I would say to people who are watching this, like, even if you have thoughts like, we can get it done within months. Yes, probably you can see the effect for that short term, but to really go through in depth, to really see the transformation, and, you know, I would say that, this whole journey is like a process. It's like it's not like a short term thing. It's like you take it as like you take it in a way that you're doing something for yourself, to support yourself, which it can be long term actually. Yeah. So yeah, this is my words for those who are actually watching this. Yeah.
Honestly, what I believe is, Norisa, like it's a lifelong journey.
Yes.
Long journey. You know, I still do shadow work and work on myself. That is the truth. And I remember I was reading this book on CPTSD by Pete Walker, and the man is so humble. He was mentioning that how he was going through a therapist, even at his very much late, I believe, very like even he himself is getting support even in his I don't know, 50s, 40s. He was mentioning it that, and so this is the truth about this whole journey. This is a lifelong journey.
Mm.
Yeah. And at the same time, Norisa, when a person comes to me, like they have been conditioned 30, 40, 50 years. I'm not a magician that I can just put a magic wand and do something like within few sessions, which is
Right.
completely impossible because people are being conditioned for so many years. And honestly speaking, it's like a patterns running the person. So to rewire these patterns and change, it needs a significant time, like in order to
Right.
like rewire these patterns in the brain. And you remember how much intense work that we've been doing together. And at the same time, you can remember, I don't even need to share, like, we don't even need to tell that how much work
Yeah.
the last session. I don't even need, like, you don't even need to go back to some few sessions where the last session itself is an
Yeah.
evidence. You remember, like, what we did last
Yes.
week and how intense was the last week session. And so that's how this work goes. This is a lifelong journey.
Mm.
And this is like we all evolve moment to moment. There's no destination. Okay, like okay, you're healed, done. It's like
Yeah.
and it's just this is a complete moment to moment. You are evolving. There's no destination anywhere.
Mm.
If there's destination or like okay, person goes through a spiritual awakening and that's the end of their growth, then they are like it's not true. It's the constant evolving, and that is how it goes. And I believe this journey is a complete lifelong journey, and we are constantly evolving and we are constantly developing this whole personal development. It's quite satisfying, actually. This is just
Yeah.
moment to moment you're
It's,
transforming, and the yesterday, like person is completely different when I look at
yes.
it today. So it's very interesting how it goes. So, Norisah, I would like to can you share we both went on a trip together to Japan, by the way.
Yes.
So I remember on particular evening that uh, I still remember we were snacking. We were snacking and like just trying all these new snacks and all these yes, good stuff. So I remember one evening, like we were both in a bench and we were eating some snacks. And suddenly you got up and you started crying. Yeah. Can you tell me that story? Like what really happened? Like you suddenly got up and started crying. That was like completely like I didn't even expect such because we were like just having like snacks,
Yeah.
just chilling. Then you suddenly, because I didn't see them as coming. So, and then suddenly you just got up. Can you tell me that story? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I still remember that. And I think, yeah, at a point of time, I really felt really deep gratitude to you because, like, I honestly lost hope about everything, before, I mean, lost hope in the sense that I have tried out everything in my life and I felt that nothing really worked. And basically, you were my last resort at a point of time. And and it's because of that I was like really like I felt that okay, whatever is going to take in this coaching or whatever is going to happen, I'm going to do it and I'm going to go through it. So I have come to that point because I have honestly lost hope because with all the labels that I got, with all the antidepressants I was taking, with all the people I've consulted, I didn't find any hope in myself. I couldn't even like find the person that I was, who's this Norisah. And And it's because of that, at a point of time, I really got emotional because I just feel so thankful because um, I really felt that whatever I've gone through with the coaching sessions with you, it has really helped me a lot to transform and shape me into the person who I am today. And for that, I really feel a deep gratitude. And yes, it was really an emotional moment. And yeah, so yeah.
Yeah, that was very interesting, Norisa. Like I remember at that particular moment what you shared. was like one sentence you shared. I didn't even know that at that time. That was shocking to me when you said that. Tell me I wouldn't be alive if you weren't there. So that was shocking to me, to be honest, because I never knew that you had such a suicidal history of
Yes.
thinking that. Because we never shared that type, like you never shared that with me. And then I was also shocked when you started crying and said that I wouldn't be alive if you weren't there. And uh, there was such a emotional moment at that time, I still remember. And at the same time, that also gives me that responsibility as a person, like, and also the impact that I'm doing. Sometimes I'm not aware, like, how much impact that this really does to a person, because I feel like you got your life back
Yeah.
working with me. And this is why I do the work that I do, like when I hear those stories, I every day I get to hear these stories either through YouTube or through my clients itself. Like I feel so blessed to hear these stories, and yeah, I still remember that moment. I would never forget that. Even it, I still remember just like how it happened. And also the sentences that you shared.
Yeah.
It was quite shocking to me also to hear that. 'Cause I never knew that the suicidal story around it.
Yeah.
Then you were sharing that, because we never had, you never mentioned this part of you during the coaching, like that you had like such yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So and like so talking about this whole journey, you are a completely different human being. Even when you look back at the old Norisah, I am sure that you can't even resonate with her anymore at all. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I found Norisah like this is very interesting. Like in Singapore, you are living on your own, right? So, but that is not your cultural conditioning. Before you're a single girl,
Yeah.
so you haven't married. So I'm just curious, like in your culture, and girl wouldn't go out of the house before they get married. So what made you live on your own and to get courage to live? Like, I mean, how did you do that? Like, because that's not the normal conditioning that you have been grown. And like, yeah, so how did you go out of that conditioning? Because I see so many instances that you are going beyond your conditioning. Like so
Yes.
many places
Yeah.
is that. This is another place that I'm seeing that now you're stepping back on your own. And like first when I met Norisah, you didn't have faith in yourself. You didn't have trust in yourself. But
Yes.
right now I see a girl who has a lot of trust in herself. In fact, she's living on her own in an apartment. So like can you tell me about how did you go? Because you're supposed to go out of the house once you are married. How did you
Yes.
then beyond this?
Okay, so it was a challenge definitely because coming from a family background of from a culture whereby family is important. You have to be with your you know daughters who are not married. You're not supposed to be like going out, especially. So it was really tough. But what really made me do this was many factors, and of course I can share this. The recent one was actually my relationship, basically my ex relationship with my boyfriend. And at a point of time, I was like, I came to a point that, like, um, I just want to find out who I am. Like, I just could not take this any longer. Like at a point of time when we were going through a lot of issues and a point of like breakup and all these things, I just could not take the pain any longer, to the point that I just need to really like do something for myself. I really need to like help myself in a sense that that breakup itself actually pushed me to really like get out from the home and start finding out who am I. So yes, it was really a tough and a challenging situation, but I'm honestly really thankful for making that decision, because after making the decision, I really have the kind of clarity, mental clarity, and found out I'm really getting the awareness of myself, what kind of person I am and all these kind of things. I'm learning a lot about myself. So yeah.
That's very interesting, Noris. Like you step out of the house and you created your own identity, like, and also find who you truly are. Now, like, you are your identity, and like, now you're more and more finding who you truly are and what are your preferences. I remember that when I first met you, like, you were quite confused as what you like and what you don't like.
Yes,
Remember?
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, since you shared about this, when I was like, yes, it was true, because it's like, I was at a point of like situation whereby I was completely lost. I don't even know what I like, what kind of, even a food, to choose a food, I have difficulties to make a decision for food. So I was going through that kind of situation, to make a simple decision, what to eat, what to buy. It was really tough for me. And it came to a point that I just could not take this any longer, because it's like, I don't even know what I like, what I want, what is my need. I don't even know all these things. So it was quite of like annoying for me. Sometimes when people ask me, Norisah, like, do you want to go for lunch? Like, what do you want to eat? I can't even answer that question, because I will simply just tell them, okay, whatever you like, okay, we can go, we can do it, we can have it together. So that kind of situation, to the point that, I felt that, no, I think this is not me at all. I have to do something about this, I need to really like, that's what really like pushed me to really like, step up from my home and to live on my own. Yeah.
Yeah, so Norisa, one more thing, like I want to ask you that, like, in our condition, in what we have learned and what we have been conditioned is family is everything. Like you got to stick together no matter what, like, and like this is what we are being heard, like even if you are getting physically or emotionally abused, like, no, like you just completely ignore that part of it, but and then we just continue to live as if nothing has happened. So, like, this is what we are being conditioned. Family is everything, family the priority, like, and so I've noticed sometimes like people are getting abused, but since it's family, it's fine, you know, like because it's family, like family is everything. So, like, what do you have to say about that? Like, what I see is family is like, yes, we share a family, but that doesn't mean that, like, of course, we are coming from that biologically, we are connected with all these people, but that doesn't mean that family has the power to abuse us. And whenever we are come to a place where we are getting abused, either through a parent or a sibling or any other way, physically, emotionally, we got to step out and we got to take necessary action. Either it is through whatever the ways by setting up a boundary, and you got to get out of that and seek the support which is necessary. It's very important. So I never like I mean, you got to start seeking. Like sometimes what I ask like clients is like, do you like do you tolerate this type of a treatment from a friend? You know, but when I ask that question, they would be like, no, of course not, you know. But when it comes to the with the label called family, you're fine to get through all that treatment, all that abuse, all that harassment. So can you tell me, like, I believe you know more than like you could tell a lot about this. What do you share about that people who are going through? I mean, I've seen like honestly, family is the first place people are getting traumatized. Let's be honest. Everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So can you that noise now?
Yeah, I think since you shared this about these things, I can even share about my own experience working with the youths as a youth worker. I come across a lot of abuse cases as well, a lot of cases basically. And what actually I really feel is that family is not everything. I would say I will just be very direct. Yes, family is there. In our Asian culture society, family is important and all these things. But if you are going through something like abuse and all these things, and if you're not even speaking up, standing up for yourself, then you're not even helping yourself. You're not even loving yourself. So yes, family is there and all these things. Family is just a word, family. But if you're going through all this abuse, all this kind of like torture, what we call it, narcissistic abuse and all these things, there you have to start doing something about it. There's no such no I would say that there's no such thing as like family is everything, you know. So I would say it's like what I would say it's like for those who are actually watching this video, and if come from a background like uh having the kind of like difficulties, um speaking up for yourself, standing up for yourself, I think it's also time to even look at the environment also you're coming from, that's really important.
It's
Yeah,
important, Norisah, like forget about this whole absolute truth and the spiritual whole absolute truth. Like that's what we talk about, you know. Like what I sometimes tell people is wake up to your relative truth at least, you know. Start waking up to your own reality. Your who you are truly, you know, and whom you are with like immediate family. Like what is their truth? You know, and what is the truth about your culture that you grown up, what is the truth about the religion that you, what is your truth about the nation. So it's important, this is what the whole like journey towards discovering who you are, it's important that you start becoming brutally honest with yourself and see things very objectively and start seeing what's really going on, and without just blushing it or like painting it in like shimmering way. That's not the way to go. You got to start waking up to your reality and start brutally honest with your reality. No, there's nothing has happened like that, and just to stay silent. No, just come to your reality and see the truth. I know it's bitter, but it's important that you start seeing this truth like sooner, or like you got to see it. Like it's like I sometimes see people, they're living in like balloons, like it's like it's like a complete illusion of a bubble, I could say. Not like it's like a bubble that they are just got stuck with complete illusion. So when they come to me with the coaching, what I do is I just pinch this bubble and they just get into it and they're like, oh my God, how can that be? Sometimes
yeah,
it's very difficult to see the reality of sometimes your own family members, because
exactly.
like this is the very people that you whom you trust the most, and to see their reality, it's been so much conditioning and you've been telling so many lies to yourself and just going through your life and trusting that it's a huge betrayal. It's a huge betrayal.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's very difficult to like to see this truth, and definitely you need some support outside
Yeah.
your own family sometimes. And when we were working on the original pain, which is like you're going back to the past and just releasing that rage we have inside. And like what type of work that is involved, like releasing that rage and in a very raw way. And it's crazy, and that kind of work, like it's very important. And I believe like everyone is carrying like so much of anger and rage from coming from their childhood, but they just keep it hidden as if nothing has happened. But the problem is the what happens is their aliveness little by little go out of their life. They're becoming more and more dull because no emotions, because they can't let their emotions come out because they're like repressed rage and anger. So they're so afraid, so they keep all hidden and repressed.
Yeah.
And but interestingly, how important it is to work with those pain and then they getting like connected with those emotions and releasing that rage we have for like what
Mm.
for like for what we had to go through as a child. Because as a child, we are so helpless. We didn't know how to process these emotions, so they get frozen in our memories until we bring those out and work out those things. And I believe
Mm.
like it's unbelievably important everyone getting anxious doing this work, at least
Mm.
like at least just becoming aware and at least trying to do it on their own, like which is a not easy thing to do, but like at least it's very important that even to bring that priority, because sometimes people when they become adults, Norisa, they just start questioning, why do I feel so dull in my life, no emotions, like
Yeah.
in my life, no happiness in like not that childlike wonder where that has happened, like you remember when we were in the Disney World and Disney Sea, how we were like,
Yes, yes, it's really true to me, and it's good that at least you bring this up because, like we always think that family is everything. Yes, but then the thing is that sometimes deep inside we might be having some form of like a unresolved kind of like pain towards any one of our family members, and it's because of this belief that family is everything, we start to like just close ourselves, and that's where all this depression, all these issues come in. So so it's like I think we have to be even true to ourselves, like and it's painful, sometimes to know even the truth of our own family members, knowing the truth, they are this kind of people, they have done this kind of thing, betrayal and all these things. But the real work comes in when you start to accept what you have gone through and accept the real truth that you've gone through, you know. Yeah, so that's about this thing, like, uh it's definitely it's definitely it's painful to accept this thing, that family is everything, family is good and all these things, and then we ourselves just repress everything and keep to ourselves and suffer. So yeah.
yeah, it's very true. And also, Norris, I've noticed like in your journey, like for the whole depression and all this mental issues that you had to go through. And what I saw is how you were healing yourself quite naturally. And for that, you had to, I believe, like for, like, I don't know how many sessions you were like cried so much in order to release that emotional baggage that you were carrying. And that is what exactly you needed. You needed a lot of release of your emotions. And that's how you transform to the person that who you are right now. Because you started, basically what you did was like you started directly feeling your emotions, which you were repressed for very long time. And that's why for many, yeah, like many sessions as you are, yeah, like, and how many crying you had to do in order to release their repressed
Yes.
emotion that you had. Do you have anything to share about that? Yeah.
Yeah, and crying really is healing. Many a times we hear from the society on people saying that crying is bad,
Really
is
fine
weak.
for men, the conditioning is like, oh, if you're a man, like if you're crying.
Exactly. It's like, men should not be crying. If you cry means you're weak. Even in my background itself, because I used to always release my emotion through crying, but then I used to get labels like, you're such a crybaby, you're so sensitive, you're so weak. And it was, and when I hear all these things at a point of time, like, okay, then I have to fit myself into the society and people's words and stop crying. But no, that's not how it works. Basically, in through the sessions, crying is the one really help me heal a lot, basically. So, and yeah, so talking about this thing itself, like, Yeah.
That's crazy, right? Like what we have been heard is like for crying, like, oh my God, like what's going on? Like, and the crying also has its like stigma around, but even for especially for men, like as this is being like labeled also as something very weak, but in reality, how much crying we needed in order to heal our true self and to bring back that aliveness back again. And that is what the true like healer within yourself. And if you, those who are watching this video, and if you just get the urge to cry, please even close your doors and just let everything release and just pour it out. And that's the way to go. And don't think that this crying, this all these are just beliefs that we learn from the society. And you got to see for yourself and question these beliefs. It's very, very important. And I believe, Norris, I don't know, don't feel like stopping the podcast because I love this. It has gone more 1 hour. I'm just
Oh, okay. I didn't even see the time actually.
normally
Yeah.
I do for 1 hour. I just don't feel like stopping because there are so
A
many
lot of things. Yes, yes.
nuggets in your story that I would like to bring that out because I know that how, because when you share the story, Norisa, there are many people who resonate with that. Because it's very rare people come out because what we see when we go to the social media, what we see is all the 99%, 99 of their, like, so 1% of like 0.005% of their life, which is really happening. The rest they don't share. So all people think everyone is like having a good life other than me. That is what the message has been going around. And I've seen that even this generations, especially the teenage that time, like now more depression is
Yes.
so much more than because with all this technology and everything. So like, honestly speaking, I really don't want to stop this. I know that we are just coming. We have the, because I also have a session by 4 p.m., so I really need to go. But then, like, I would like to ask few more questions from you, Norris, because I see a lot to learn from you. And I saw one thing about you, Norisa, like when I saw in your case, like even when I'm working with you, something that I've noticed is that you just went 100% all in. Like, I found that's very interesting. You know, and also like I see that when I'm working with you, like when I go into like, the sometimes trance like states, I just guide you and you completely give yourself to me. And, can you tell me about that? Yeah.
I think one thing that's coming to me is trust because I really trust the work that you're doing, and I have been seeing a lot of improvements in myself. So whatever exercises that we do in our sessions and all these things, I always want to give the best. Whatever it takes, I just want to give the best, and I just fully let go of myself at the point of time. And actually, it's by doing that that I do see the results. I see the effectiveness of all those exercises. And for example, I think what's coming to my mind, I just recently even did a catharsis kind of like exercise with you, healing exercise. And for that, I even book a hotel room to do the exercise because for me is I really want to give the best, get benefits from the exercise. And I really saw that the changes actually from the exercise. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
I found that is something that I saw in you, how committed you were on this work. Like even when I said that this work will be very intense and you got to like release you in this way. And like sometimes you might need to even scream. And then you even
yes.
like booked a hotel for this. And that is your commitment, I find. That is one reason why you are here right now, Norisa. Like, yes, you give me all the credits to me. Like what I see, it's a teamwork. You could have the best coach, but then if the other person is not cooperating, how would you go with the journey? So what I see is what we did together was a complete teamwork. And so it's a very, very interesting story that you have. And that commitment that you had was unbelievable. That's because I saw that you just do it like completely. There's no question or whatever, that faith. You were like devoted for the work. And now, right now, you're reaping the results.
Mm, mm.
Even right now, you are very clear that you can even go on your own because I have come to a place which is very confident and very, in fact, you are training to be a coach. So can you please tell me about that? I'm very like, so see, I have so much to ask from you. It's funny that like 3:25 Sri Lankan time, and I even haven't had my lunch, but I'm so
Oops.
I am so I'm so excited for this podcast. I don't feel like I'm stopping this. Can you tell me about you are now training to be a coach around binge eating.
Yes.
Can you tell me about that? And like, I'm very interested in this. Yeah.
So actually how it really happened is it's because of my transformational journey in the sense that, I noticed that while I noticed myself, going into a lot of binge eating, especially to cope with my emotions. And it was really destructive, basically.
Orisa, it would be very nice if you can also tell that part of the story because I'm very sure the women who are watching can resonate with you. Like even myself had been cheating for 9 years, and I felt, Norisa, completely helpless and powerless because I feel like no, this is how it is. There's no way something that I can because I remember I was going I was just binging, and then in the morning I just not get the breakfast because I was
Um,
fast because of what I ate in the night, and then I try to just do like double the workout that I did, and it was like a complete vicious cycle. Because after that, I like if I eat something sugar, I feel more guilty, and then it was like I felt like this was never ending, and until you can tell me a story, until we did a different thing than binge eating, like how we truly go to the root cause of everything. And
yes,
can
yeah.
you share your story around binge eating also, and then share and your binge eating coaching. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually my binge eating started way too long when I was young. So that was really at a point of time, I really didn't know. But how I got to know is, after doing all this healing work and then, you know, and and food was basically just my comfort. It was just my pain relief at a point of time.
Can you tell me what really food gave you? What is the need it was giving you?
Pleasure, it was giving me pleasure. So basically, I always go for all the sugary food. That was really giving me a lot of like dopamine, a lot of dopamine boost, all those pleasure feelings. So I didn't know at a point of time, I just thought it's normal, when you're feeling stressed, just go for the food. I didn't know. But how it happened is that, I a lot over the years, I felt that my health really deteriorated. I had a lot of health issues as well. And then with the health issues and a lot of physical issues and all these things, I felt that, okay, I have to do something about this. It was not helping me at all. And somehow, one of the sessions, I think I even shared with you about some struggles, and then we got to know, okay, binge, it looks like actually this is like a binge eating kind of issue. And that's when I started doing a lots of reading about binge eating, and I also want to help myself, what to do in all these things. And then, uh, after doing a lot of research and all these things, I felt, I started taking action on this issue of mine, and I started seeing a lot of progress that, actually my cravings has been like reducing and all these things. And that's when I also like was thinking along the way, what can I do? I was also like thinking about my dream career and all these things. And one fine day you even shared with me, Norisah, actually you can try doing this binge eating, this thing that you're going through. At the point of time, I didn't even have this thought. I didn't even think about doing this because I went through so many things. I was thinking, okay, whether should I become a depression coach or this kind of things. And then, after diving into this, I felt that okay, this is something that's really like I feel the kind of like a like excitement doing this, and and I've been like, I started like, I did took a client last year. One of my friends took a client and all those things, and I felt that hey, this is something that resonates with me, and I really feel interested to support people as well. So that's how actually this whole binge eating coaching started, and I've been like still working on this, and I'm also like doing like programs to support people, online programs as well, courses. So yeah, I'm still doing this, and I hope one day, yeah, you guys will like take a look at these courses as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if anyone is interested, like you
yeah,
follow up with Norisah. The full name is right there. So anyway, I find your story like where you were in 2000, like 21, and where you are right now in 2025 is completely two different people. Like we can even put that in the thumbnail, the before and after, the pictures of you, how you lost the weight and all that. And I find your stories incredibly inspiring, Norris, and I believe like so many people would get so much resonate with that, because I know there are many people who are suffering alone in silence because of the social stigma around. And thank you for coming up here and sharing like your story fearlessly. And as a woman, I find that's very courageous. And this is quite inspiring, Norris. And thank you for coming up.
thank you, Domi.
Okay, then see you.
Thanks, Domi. Thank you.